I want you to picture a moment that feels completely out of place in an ordinary day. You're moving through the usual routine, checking messages, clearing notifications, and scrolling through the familiar stream of information that fills every spare minute. Then suddenly, something catches your attention. A message appears with a promise so unexpected that it instantly pulls you out of autopilot. It hints that something unusual is on its way, something connected to one of the most talked about innovators in the world. At first, skepticism takes over. Surely it's a joke, a rumor, or another exaggerated story designed to grab attention. Yet, the idea lingers. The more you think about it, the harder it becomes to ignore. Curiosity has a way of doing that. It plants a small question in your mind and refuses to leave. Before long, you're imagining possibilities. What could be arriving? Why would it matter? Could an unexpected event really disrupt the rhythm of an otherwise predictable week? Most days follow a pattern we know by heart. We wake up, handle responsibilities, and move through familiar routines with little surprise. That's why moments that spark wonder feel so powerful. They remind us that life can still be unpredictable. The excitement isn't really about a package or a message. It's about the possibility that something new could enter your story without warning. Whether it's an opportunity, an idea, or simply a fresh perspective, those rare moments capture our attention because they break the ordinary. And for a brief instant, they make us wonder if tomorrow might hold something we never saw coming. The one person who gets a chance to open something before it even arrives. What if this isn't about who you are, but who you could become if you paid attention right now, while this moment is still yours? Picture this. You're standing at the window, scanning the horizon, the memory of the message tingling at the back of your head, open before it arrives. And what is it? A letter? A blueprint? A key to something you never imagined? Something that says, you're not just another name in the database. You're part of the story now. You know, for just a moment, reality feels different. Like the universe has glitched in your favor. Like the usual rules don't apply. The message isn't asking if you're ready. It's telling you that the countdown has already started. It's urgent. Time is running out. Every second, whatever's coming gets one step closer to your doorstep. Now, you might be laughing at yourself. Or maybe you're nervous. After all, who gets chosen? Who gets singled out by someone who's literally changing the trajectory of human civilization? But that's the secret no one tells you. The door to everything different in your life doesn't open for the people who expect it. It opens for the people who are willing to answer even when they're scared, even when they're not sure, even when their hands are shaking and their voice is just a whisper in the storm. So, will you open it? Or will you let it stay locked, unopened, and watch as everyone else moves on, the moment lost, forever? Think about this. The world moves so fast, but real opportunities, the kind that leave you breathless, they knock once, then move on. The only thing you have to do is pay attention when your chance comes, and trust yourself enough to answer. Let's take a breath, right now. Just breathe, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let the noise fade away, all the voices telling you to play it safe or not to dream, just for a second. Because the next chapter of your life might just depend on exactly this moment, right here, right now. The seconds ticking away as you decide whether to stay curious or to slam the door on possibility. Now, if you're still with me, it means something. It means you don't just live for the safe answer. You're a different kind of person. The kind who dares to ask, what if? The kind who feels the pulse of the unknown and chooses to face it, eyes wide open. And here's what most people never realize. The future is always sending signals. Little signs, impossible coincidences. Sometimes it's a message, Sometimes it's a stranger's words. Sometimes it's a knock you almost don't answer. Right now, for you, it's this. A chance, disguised as a story. A direction, hidden inside curiosity. A message with your name on it, hovering out of sight, waiting to land on your doorstep. You might be telling yourself it's just a story, right? Just entertainment, just a video. Maybe you weren't meant for big things after all. Maybe you're just you, just like everyone else. But isn't that the point? Every extraordinary person you've ever heard of started out as ordinary. The only difference was this: they looked up, opened the door, and kept listening, even when it felt like a dream. Are you listening? Because this is not just another piece of content. This is an invitation, one you can close any time, but you can never unsee what's coming once you choose to open your mind. Pause. Deep breath. Think for a moment about how many times you felt on the edge of something big, but you looked away. How many doors have you seen, but left unopened? How many messages have you ignored, because it felt safer not to risk being disappointed? This time, what if you didn't? What if you just listened one more second longer? Because Elon Musk didn't get where he is by following the crowd. He became himself because he answered every strange, impossible message the universe threw at him. Every time his heart sped up and told him something wild might be possible, he answered every single time. And that's the thing. Maybe you and Elon, you aren't so different after all. So, as the seconds keep ticking, as we wait for whatever's coming to your address, are you ready to lean in? To open the message before it arrives? Or will you scroll away, let it fade, and always wonder what might have been on the other side? This is just the beginning, so you're still here. That alone says more about you than you realize. By now, most people would have moved on without a second thought, letting another passing message fade into the endless stream of distractions. Yet something kept you here. Perhaps it was a spark of curiosity, or maybe a feeling you couldn't quite explain, a quiet sense that this moment deserved a closer look. Life has a curious way of presenting opportunities when we least expect them, but recognizing them requires something many people struggle with: openness. Before any new chapter can begin, there has to be a willingness to turn the page. Think of your journey as a long corridor stretching into the distance, lined with countless doors. Some have remained unnoticed for years, while others were deliberately closed because stepping through them felt uncertain or uncomfortable. Every person carries those unopened possibilities somewhere in their story. Today, however, one possibility seems to stand apart from the rest. It catches your attention, not because it promises certainty, but because it invites exploration. Standing before it, hesitation is natural. Every meaningful decision carries a degree of doubt, and every unexpected opportunity arrives wrapped in questions rather than guarantees. History is filled with moments that seemed improbable at first glance. New ideas, bold ventures, and life-changing breakthroughs rarely announce themselves as obvious successes. Instead, they appear quietly, waiting for someone willing to look beyond the surface and consider what might be possible. The individuals who shape their futures are often not the ones with all the answers. They are the ones willing to take a closer look when everyone else keeps walking. Sometimes the difference between an ordinary day and a remarkable turning point is simply the courage to remain curious a little longer. History remembers their names. The rest just watch from a distance, tucked safely behind routines that never lead anywhere unexpected. What would it mean, just for today, to act as if you're the type to answer, not ignore, to move, not avoid, to believe that, maybe, the world has bigger plans for you than even you've ever dared whisper out loud? Most people stay in their lane. They hear the knock, feel the flutter, but their inner voice drowns it out. Who am I to matter? Who am I to receive? Who am I to unlock something only meant for the extraordinary? Pause. But what if the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just the willingness to open what's yours before it ever arrives? Remember, the script of your past doesn't dictate the destiny of your future. Elon Musk was laughed at, dismissed, nearly bankrupt, more than once. He failed so many times, the stories don't even make the headlines anymore. The only thing he never did was shut the door all the way. Every time life brought him some wild, impossible package, he opened it, sometimes with shaking hands, sometimes with wild, "What if this moment?" You choose action. What if this time you answer the call instead of questioning if you're worthy? There's magic in uncertainty. So often, we're taught to plan, to wait, to plot and schedule, to never step unless we can see the entire map. But reality doesn't work that way, especially not for those who want to change everything. Life moves in mysterious, looping signals. It rewards those who respond in the moment, not those who hesitate, calculate, or ask for certainty where it doesn't exist. Let's create a mini experiment right now. Close your eyes, if you can, even for just a second. Breathe in, out. Now, gently imagine a small, mysterious box sitting before you. It's simple, nondescript, but you know, deep down, it could contain the one thing that alters the whole course you're on. Written on top, by hand, your name. Picture yourself reaching out to open it. Depending on who you are, maybe your hands shake a bit, or maybe there's a smile rising at the corners of your lips, an excitement you don't even try to hide. You lift the lid, the world slows. What do you find? What's inside? Maybe it's a vision of your life, 10 years from now, if you step through every door. Maybe it's a simple note left by your future self, saying you were braver than you knew. Maybe it's something physical, a key, a map, a flash drive holding blueprints that have never seen the light of day. Or maybe it's empty, and the real message is this: you have to fill it yourself. Pause. Open your eyes. It was just an exercise, or was it? Because the most powerful part of anything new is not what you receive, but the courage to open it in the first place. You see, every time you respond to a moment like this, you send a new signal out, to the world and to your own subconscious. I'm ready, I'm willing, and life responds. Maybe not right away, maybe not in the way you expect, but always with some kind of answer. So here we are. You've made it further than most ever do, and now the room you're in, the one with all those unopened doors, the echo of possibilities, feels just a bit different, almost as if, by making it this far, you've shifted something invisible, opened a window to a breeze no one else can feel. Pause, breathe in, let the room settle around you, because what's coming isn't just another message, another notification lost in a tide of daily distractions. This is different. This is the rare kind of moment, an intersection, or the lines between reality and potential blur, where all that matters is whether you let a new idea in before it manifests on your doorstep in some real, tangible way. You might find your thoughts drifting. What if the thing Elon Musk sent is more than physical? What if it's not a gadget, not a letter, not a physical object at all, but a daring question, a challenge that few will understand, let alone act on? Because here's something nobody talks about. Every invention, every leap forward in human progress starts as a challenge in disguise. Sometimes it's a question, can you do what no one else will? Sometimes it's a risk, will you go first? Sometimes it's just discomfort, the agitation of not knowing what's next. Pause. Notice this contrast. You feel excitement now, but isn't there also a pang of nervousness? That's the dual-edged sword of real possibility. There is something undeniably powerful about standing at the edge of possibility. The future rarely arrives with guarantees, and that uncertainty can feel both exciting and unsettling at the same time. Yet every meaningful change begins with a simple decision to move forward, despite not knowing exactly what lies ahead. picture yourself receiving an unexpected package from a visionary thinker or innovator. The details hardly matter. What matters is the feeling that comes with it. You turn it over in your hands, wondering what it contains and why it found its way to you. Inside, it may not be a valuable object at all. It could be an idea, a question, or a spark of inspiration waiting to be explored. The true gift is the invitation to think differently. Throughout history, remarkable achievements often began as unlikely thoughts that most people ignored. The difference was that someone chose to pay attention. Someone decided to explore rather than dismiss the possibility. Consider the moments in your own life that arrived without warning. A conversation, an opportunity, or a chance encounter that stirred something inside you. How often have you hesitated because the path seemed uncertain? How many opportunities quietly slipped away because they did not match the picture you had imagined? It is easy to cling to familiarity, yet growth rarely lives there. Sometimes the experiences that shape us most arrive in unexpected forms, wrapped in uncertainty and disguised as disruption. What first appears unusual or inconvenient can later become the turning point that changes everything. The challenge is recognizing that possibility when it stands before you and having the courage to answer its call. But every so often, unreasonable is exactly what we need. A reality check for our dreams, a spark to set old hopes on fire again. Pause, let your imagination stretch. What if Elon Musk's package isn't meant just for you, but for the person you could become, the inventor, the risk-taker, the original thinker you hide from everyone else? And maybe all the instructions say is, break the rules, build the future. If your heart jumps, that's your signal. It's the part of you that recognizes something true and worth pursuing, even when it scares you, especially when it does. Just for a second, look back on the world. Every household name, every breakthrough, every world-shifting innovation we take for granted existed solely because one person decided to answer a challenge before anyone else even saw it as real. Maybe it was a letter, maybe just a bet, maybe, like you, they were alone with a message that felt too personal to be true and too urgent to ignore. You're not alone in this feeling. Across time, every great decision started with the same blend of fear and fire. And you're still here. You're still listening. That means you're more daring than most, even if you don't see it yet. Even if your day-to-day life sometimes looks cautious or careful on the surface. Here's a secret, one all the dreamers know. Destiny isn't about being at the right place at the right time. It's about opening whatever arrives, taking action before certainty, building as you go, not because you're sure, but because you sense it matters. Pause and see. The most dangerous thing about opportunity isn't that it passes you by. It's that it passes by so quietly, most people never notice until it's long gone. That's what this whole message is about. Not just the gift, not just the sender, but about training yourself to respond when most people freeze, to leap when the rest hold back. You might even start wondering now if this is some sort of test, a secret society handshake from the universe, a moment to see if you'll act differently than you did last year, last week, yesterday. Because every time you ignore the call, you reinforce the wall between who you are and who you might become. But every time you lean forward, even a little, you thin that wall, clear the fog, strengthen the signal that says, this is the moment that changes everything. Think about your address now, your real one, not just the digital version. Imagine an envelope with your name in bold, the letters sharp and certain, as if whoever sent it believed you were meant for what's inside. Pause. Let that visual take hold. How would you walk to the door to receive it? How would you feel opening it, knowing it was sent because someone recognized your potential long before you did? Contrast that with staying put, with routine, with playing small. There's the safe way, the expected way, the way where nothing ever really risks being lost, but nothing's ever really found either. Or there's the other way, the wild way, the way where you say yes to a new narrative, yes to the surprises, yes to the package that arrives unexpectedly but right on time. You are so much closer than you've ever been, not just to a story, but to a reality where you answer the knock, accept the mystery, invite something new to take root in your life. And all it takes? Stay present, stay open. Time is trickling away. You can feel it in the air, the sense that the longer you wait, the more the window starts to close. The door to the unknown never stays open forever. There comes a point when possibility stops being a distant idea and becomes something standing right in front of you. This is one of those moments. You can feel it in the tension between excitement and uncertainty, in the way your mind searches for guarantees before taking a step forward. Yet the truth is that meaningful opportunities rarely arrive with complete certainty attached to them. They show up quietly, asking for courage before offering answers. The mix of anticipation, curiosity, and hesitation you're feeling is not a sign that you're unprepared. It's often a sign that you're standing near something that matters. Many people spend years staying within familiar boundaries, choosing comfort over growth, never discovering what might have happened if they had trusted themselves a little more. But you've already traveled farther than that. You've reached a place where a decision has to be made, where staying still may feel easier but moving forward holds the promise of something greater. Of course, distractions will appear, daily routines, endless demands on your attention, and the doubts that naturally surface whenever change is involved will all compete for your focus. They will encourage you to retreat to what feels safe and predictable. Yet beneath the noise, there is often another feeling, quiet but persistent, reminding you that some opportunities are too important to ignore. Think back to the moments that slipped away because the timing never seemed perfect, chances postponed, dreams delayed, intentions pushed into an undefined future. More often than not, that future never arrives in the way we imagine. Progress begins when we recognize that the perfect moment is rarely found. It is created the instant we decide to move forward. And right now, all you have is now. So, ask yourself, are you willing to step into the next version of your life? Uncertain, unready, but alive? Or do you want to spend another year peeking through cracks in the door, wondering why adventure and opportunity always seem to bypass you? Consider, if Elon Musk was afraid to open packages of risk, he'd never have built rockets, never have challenged the auto industry, never have tried to colonize Mars. Each time, he opened the metaphorical box before anyone else believed in it. He moved forward. He trusted the mission, not the outcome. Now, it's your turn. Not to build rockets, unless you want to, but to say yes to what's knocking for you. That's the secret nobody tells you. The moment always looks bigger on the other side of action. All it takes is a single step. Pause. Let this thought settle. Your life can pivot on a single moment of bravery. That's not just a cliche. It's the common thread behind every breakthrough, every reinvention, every story you've ever admired. You don't have to know what's coming in the box. You don't have to predict exactly what will arrive at your door. You just have to be the type who opens it, who lets it change you. Right now, picture this. You get up from your chair. The world is silent. No clatter, no headlines, only the pulse of possibility. A real package, a real envelope, with your real name, arrives. You sign for it, hands trembling just a little. You peel back the edges, slow, savoring every second, because you know something in your story is about to shift. Inside, maybe it's a manifesto, maybe it's a challenge, maybe it's instructions for your next step, your next invention, your next leap, or maybe it's nothing but your reflection, proof that you were the one strong enough to open it at all. Feel that. That is courage, the muscle, almost, that's been waiting for you to use it. Now, before you take your next breath, pause here. Before this moment is just another forgotten turn on the endless scroll, decide what you'll do with it. If you never open the door, you're left with the ache of almost. almost did, almost became, almost changed, but almost is just regret, waiting for an ending. Take a moment with me. Imagine the world through the eyes of the person who acted, the you who stood up, who said yes, who embraced the shock of the unknown, who trusted that the wildest possibilities are not reserved only for people out there, but for the courageous at home, people like you. This is your invitation to open before it arrives, to change before you're ready, to let the next version of your life begin today, not someday, because opportunity does not come back around. There is no second knock quite like the first. This is the time when people who changed their lives step forward, even when the path is cloudy, even when their hearts are pounding, even when it feels a little bit crazy. Pause. Now, let's anchor it in reality. What is the real package in your life? Is it a business idea you've been hiding, a conversation you've been avoiding, a leap you've been delaying? Is it a relationship you've hesitated to deepen, a dream you keep tucked away behind critical voices? Identify it. Hold it in your hands. Open before it arrives. Before the world hands you the formality, you've already decided you are ready. Before anyone else confirms your worth, you've whispered to yourself, I'm willing to try. Contrast the lives lived by those who waited for certainty and those who acted despite doubt. The first end up with interesting stories they never wrote. The second, they get to become the story. The package knocking at your address, whether from Elon Musk or the universe itself, is not what matters. It's your response, your yes, your willingness. So here's the actual call to action. No fancy sales pitch, no grand promise. Just this. This is your sign. Consider this a rare invitation, one that arrives quietly yet carries the power to change the direction of your story. Every so often, life places a moment in front of us that asks for nothing more than a decision: move forward or remain where we are. As these words reach their final lines, imagine standing before an unopened door. On one side is everything familiar, every routine, every reason to wait. On the other is possibility, hidden from view, but waiting to be discovered. The choice has always belonged to you. Many people spend years wondering what might have happened if they had taken a chance, followed an instinct, or trusted themselves enough to step into the unknown. Yet there are others who recognize opportunity when it appears, even when it arrives disguised as uncertainty. The difference is not talent, luck, or timing. It is the willingness to act. You have already come this far, already stayed long enough to hear the message beneath the words. That alone says something about your curiosity, your courage, and your desire for more. So when the next opportunity appears in your life, don't rush past it or leave it waiting on the sidelines. Meet it with confidence. Open the door. Explore what lies beyond. Allow yourself to discover what becomes possible when hesitation gives way to action. The future is not something reserved for a select few. It is shaped by those who choose to engage with it. Perhaps the most important question is not what awaits you next, but whether you are prepared to welcome it. The answer, as always, rests in your hands.